Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. We are Millennial Mom. If you don't know who is who, I'm Millennial. This is Mom. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, I'm Mom or Kay from Millennial Mom, and today we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiance, The Other Way, Season 5, Episode 5, The So-Called Wi-Fi. Now before I begin, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please consider subscribing. Also, leave your comments so I know what you thought about tonight's episode, or tonight's review, I should say. Like the video and tell a friend to tell a friend that Mom, or Kay from Millennial Mom, reviews 90 Day Fiance, Match Me Abroad, Married at First Sight, and a bunch of different little things over here. So join the family. All right, everyone, let's get started. On today's episode, we're gonna see Armando and Kenny, and Danielle and Yohan, Julio and Kirsten, Brandon and Mary, and TJ and Kimberly. So I like to start with the couple who I find either, whether it be the least interesting or not too much happen during their scenes. And that starts off with Armando. And Armando is meeting with his mother again, picks back the conversation as to why he feels like he should be moving to the big city, and that he wanted his mother's approval. And also he was saying that he wanted to tell her about growing up. Now Armando came out to his family a little later in life. He said that he did not feel supported by his family. Even Hannah's mother, who passed away when Hannah was an infant, he had to take over the roles of mother and father. So while he's talking, his mother breaks down in emotions, and she's saying how, I didn't realize that you were going through it alone. I didn't realize that you felt this way. And then Armando dropped a bombshell. He said that he felt like he was at a point where he didn't feel like he would be able to continue in this life. He said that the only thing keeping him here was Hannah, and that Hannah became his savior, like his angel at the time that pulled him out of that darkness. And so also this episode started with, let me say that if anyone is experiencing mental health challenges and are struggling, please contact your local mental helpline, your therapy hotline. Every city has one. Dial 311 if you need that assistance, so that you're not alone, and help us out there. So after Armando was telling his mom, the reasons why he wants to move and the support he didn't feel, and Armando's mother actually got up and gave him a hug and was very, very emotional, and just held Armando tight and just apologized for everything that he felt, and said, you know what? We believe in you, we trust in you, we love you, and nothing's gonna stop that. And whatever decision that you want to make that's best for you, do that, and we'll be here to stand by you. And I think that's exactly what Armando has needed and that he received. So I hope he can feel better and work through those issues that he kept inside for a very long time, to resolve things within his family. All right, so moving to Danielle and Yohan, when we pick back up with them, Danielle's friends have come to visit the Dominican to see how she's doing and to see what's really going on with Yohan. Now, let me just say, Danielle has a lot of friends that come over to visit her, whether it be friends, ex-boyfriends, whoever. She gets a lot of visitors since we've seen Danielle on this 90-day franchise. So the friends, when they met Yohan the night before, they felt like he was a good guy. They said that, they can tell how much Danielle and Yohan really liked and loved each other, but there were some issues that they needed to work past. So when they met up with them today, the conversation with the friend group came up with family. Where do you think you want to go in the future as far as having babies? And Danielle has a 21-year-old son that she had when she was 21, so she's 42 now. And Danielle has also, we've seen her when her and Yohan were on the 90 Day Love in Paradise franchise. She had actually seen a fertility doctor who told her through tests and everything else that at her age, her eggs were low, the volume wasn't there, so she may have a little bit of a harder time to get pregnant. And so Yohan knows this, Danielle knows that, but they are considering doing an egg donor. And one of the things that came up in conversation was, of course, the price of these type of treatments and, could they afford it? Because Yohan is no longer working his hotel job or a meat market that he had, and it's only Danielle's income, and that can cost a pretty penny. But Yohan was saying that, he wants to have a baby the traditional way. Danielle said that they have sex every single day in hopes of conceiving. Now, Yohan is what, like 28 to 32? So yeah, he's in that phase of, wanting to have sex often and every day, because he's like, you know what, whenever she wants to make it happen, I'm gonna make it happen. Now, let me just say, if you're over the age of 40, I mean, I am as well, that yes, it can be a little harder for some to get pregnant, but people do. It's not far-fetched that you can't get pregnant in your 40s and to your middle 50s. It's happened for many ladies. Now, whether the pregnancy is a healthier pregnancy, that is the issue. And I think that Danielle is kind of thinking about that a lot more, like, would the baby be healthy? But also at the same time, Danielle said she has the energy for a baby now, but 2 years from now, she may not have the same energy. So I'm thinking, well, Danielle, you knew that already. Yohan did too, but I think Yohan, he hears these things, but he thinks like maybe he's like in the majority where it won't happen. Like, this is not happening for us, but I don't know what's gonna have him see, like, this is the journey that you're on. But then Danielle went on to say that she wanted like not only one baby, she wanted to give Yohan 2 babies. So if you feel like you may not have the energy now, 2 years from now, for one, who's to say you'd have it for 2? But then again, she may have twins right off top, so that might not be an issue. Now, later on in the episode, Danielle, Yohan, and the friends go meet up with Yohan's family, who are having a family gathering and a picnic off the way beaten path at a lake or something that they know where it is. It's not touristy. That's something like if you live there, like if you know kind of thing. So Yohan's family is very welcoming to not just Danielle, but Danielle's friends. And the friends noticed that. And they were telling Danielle that they were very surprised they were as welcoming as they were, and that they can see how Yohan's family would be supportive of her if she did have a baby down the line. And then the question was asked to Yohan's mom, so how big or how much did Yohan weigh when he was a baby? Yohan's mom said he weighed 12 pounds. And I think it was collective with Danielle and her friends, like 12 pounds, like, whoa, 12 pounds is a really big baby. Picture like a good sized watermelon in weight as a baby. Woo, Danielle, that ought to make you think twice about that. But I don't know, we'll see if they continue on with the egg donor process and where this money's gonna come from. Moving to Julio and Kirsten. So Julio has done a complete 180, or should I say 360. He's been round and round and round and around like a tornado, because anytime the wind blows, his mind gets changed. Now, originally, Kirsten came to New York to meet Julio's family so that she could finally be introduced to them, so they would know who she is and, get to know his family as well, because she thinks that her and Julio have a future together, because Julio has evidently told Kirsten that he's going to be moving to Amsterdam with her in the next 3 months. So get ready, come meet my family so they know who you are. And then, down the line, he's made it seem like we're going to be a couple, like engaged, married, and the whole 9 yards. Well, when Julio took Kirsten to meet his mom, that didn't go well, because they did not know anything about Kirsten and she was surprised. As a matter of fact, Julio's brothers and his mom combined said that, oh, this is nothing for Julio because he's one for keeping secrets and he's not always honest. I'm like, you know what? If your mom says it about you, it's more than likely true. And Julio didn't even try to say anything about that. So apparently that's also a little bit of his personality. And then when Julio took Kirsten to meet some other family members, aunts, uncles, and cousins, they didn't know anything about Kirsten either. And they were surprised that Julio was going to leave to go to Amsterdam in 3 months as well. Now, Julio's mother and brother, the oldest brother, little brother didn't really say too much. And then Julio's aunts, uncles, and cousins, at the same time, we're saying, like, why do you have to move to Amsterdam? How come she can't come to the States and stay with you for a little while since you've been over there working. You know how it is. How come she can't experience America? And so that we can get to know her more, so that you just don't go back and forth and we really don't know who you're around and who you're with. So Julio was thinking like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. What do you think, babe? And Kirsten is thrown off. She's saying, no, that's not the plan. Like, I don't want to move to the United States. I just don't want to move here. So when we see Julio again in the previous episode, it's Halloween. He introduces Kirsten to one of his best friends, and the best friend was saying the same thing. He was telling Julio, why do you need to go? But if you do go, maybe you ought to get you an apartment, because what if you argue? Like, what if you need your own space? Like, what are you going to do if you're just in the same place together? There's nowhere to go. And Kirsten was like, well, he can take a walk. And then Julio's sitting there like, yeah, that's a good idea. Babe, what do you think? Everything's like, babe, what do you think? That's a good idea. Constantly throwing Kirsten a curveball. And it's like, what is going on here? Why would you bring Kirsten all the way to meet your family if you can be talked into anything at any time, so it seems, and be like, yeah, that's a good idea? That don't even make sense, which goes to show that, Julio, you are not ready for a relationship. Fast forward to the morning after all that happened. Julio's taking Kirsten to a restaurant or cafe that he says has the best breakfast, and he wants Kirsten to try his favorite breakfast spot. So Kirsten's not really big on American food, but she goes with him anyways just to experience it. Plus she's going home on the next episode. So they go in, she orders her breakfast, and she's asking Julio like, so are you sure you are still thinking about moving to Amsterdam to be with me? Because your family members are telling you other things and you seem like you changed your mind. So then the food comes out. Even though they're having conversation, Julio is not even giving Kirsten eye contact at all. He's just constantly eating his food. He's looking down just like that, eating his food. He's like, oh, do you think you can make this for me? In Amsterdam? Do you like your food? Because apparently Kirsten either has never had home fries or hash brown potatoes, and it was her first time trying it, and she said that she liked it. But what he had, it looked like he had the same potatoes and some French toast and maybe like some eggs or something on the side. And Kirsten says, yeah, I'll try to cook it for you. I'll do my best. And Julio was like, you know what? That might be one of the deciding factors, the food. I need my American food fix. I need the foods that I like often. So if I do move to Amsterdam, I'm gonna have to fly back and forth so I can get the stuff that I like. And I'm like, what? You are basing your decision on your favorite cafe or French toast, and why are you asking her to cook? You can't cook it? You don't know how? Okay. Whatever your friends and family are telling you, like getting your own place, just a whole bunch of things from the left. If I was Kirsten, this would have been my last trip over to America and seeing Julio, because one, I can't trust you. Two, you're being wishy-washy. Three, you have backpedaled on everything we agreed upon from the last year that we've been together, but yet no one else knew we were together, who just think that I just came up out the blue to meet you and that I'm just taking you over to Amsterdam just because. No. Julio needs to get it all the way together, because being with Kirsten or anyone right now is not the place to be. All right, let's move to Brandon and Mary. So it's the next morning of Brandon's arrival. He received permission to sleep in the room with Mary. Now, when he wakes up though, Mary's sitting on the bed, and Brandon, I'm sure he has a lot of jet lag, is like staring at him. So, they don't have to be on the phone 24/7. He's just right there. I'm thinking, how weird or creepy is that? Brandon said, when I woke up in the middle of the night to use the restroom, where'd you go? Because you weren't in the bed. Mary said, I got up to sleep on the couch because your feet kept kicking me. So apparently Brandon slept one way, Mary slept another way. I guess that was to not have temptation. I don't know. But Brandon still thought that maybe when the lights went out, even though they didn't get permission, that things would be like at least touchy-feely, if not the hot and heavy that he thought it would be. But Mary said in confessional that she wasn't ready for anything like that, in anything intimate, and that she was shy. But in confessional, Brandon says he was surprised because after 2 years of dating, he thought things would have been different. Now, Brandon, okay, see, they're both 23 and don't have a whole lot of life experience, but most of us over a particular age know that you could be whoever, whatever on social media and apps. So, she was talking to you hot and heavy. That was just playing a game, and Brandon found out the hard way. No pun intended. So when they get up for breakfast, Mary decides that she wants to feed Brandon. And Brandon's sitting in a chair and she's feeding him with a big spoon as if he's a toddler or a baby in a high chair feeding him. Okay? Now in confessional, Mary says, I need to fatten him up so he could be huggable like a teddy bear. But I'm like, okay, wait. You guys don't have to be on the phone no more. You don't have to watch each other sleep, shower, breathe, whatever it is. He can feed himself, right? But apparently they are so codependent, that's what she needs to do. And not only was she feeding him like that, she was feeding him a little too fast because he was still trying to swallow. Okay? And he even caught a bone from the chicken adobo she was feeding him. So what if she put more food in the mouth and he swallowed that bone? Could have went downhill real fast. So after breakfast, Mary was telling Brandon what they were going to do for the day, and they were going to help her grandfather on the farm. Today was the day where they were going to prep the field for rice. So there are no modern conveniences on the field. So they use a water buffalo, I think it is, and just get behind it and plow. So Brandon was like down for doing whatever because, he wants to earn his keep at his house. So they go out there. At first he has on like mud boots, and the mud is apparently too thick that Brandon's feet got stuck in the mud. So he had to take the boots off anyways. And then he got on, I don't know what you call it, but to steer the animal to go around to plow the field. Brandon, although he didn't know what he was doing, he was trying, so I give him that. He definitely, in my opinion, is trying to fit in with the family because he wants to be with Mary, so whatever he's got to do, it seems like he'll do it for now. After they finished plowing the field, Brandon, Mary, and the grandfather sat down to talk, and Mary is translating. So now Brandon feels like he needs to confess to Grandpa that they actually did kiss at the airport. And Mary said, so you want me to tell my grandpa that? Because that's not allowed and I don't want them to be ashamed of me. So Brandon was like, yeah, because I want to be honest. I want them to know that they can trust me. So then Mary decided to go ahead and translate it. And when she did, the grandpa was upset. And at the same time, he said, well, since you already shared a kiss, go ahead and plan that wedding because if you want to do other things, you have to be married first. So let me know when the date is. And in confessional, Brandon said, wow, just for a kiss, I have to be married? That seems awfully fast. Well, they did say you have to follow the rules, and Mary broke the rules. Maybe Mary already knew this rule. If we kiss, then you have to make an honest woman out of me. And maybe she didn't tell Brandon because the goal was to marry her anyway, because that's what Brandon said. But you can't tell me that Mary didn't know what was up for real, for real. Later in the afternoon, Mary takes Brandon out to the beach, and that's where he's going to meet her 3 friends so they can meet Brandon and see who the love of her life is in person. So once they arrive, let me say, I'm not sure which friend it is, but the one with the blonde highlights, he is the star of the show, okay? Because he asked a few questions. Well, not of the show, of this episode, talking to Mary and Brandon. He asked questions that was right on time. He was like, did you know Mary turns off the Wi-Fi and says that she has no signal and turns off her phone so she can hang out with us? And he also wanted to say that, you two need to spend some time to get to know each other because it looks like since you didn't know this information, Brandon, that you need to take your time and, both of y'all to slow your roll. Well, when that information was given out, Mary looked at her friends like, oh, I can't believe you said that. And then Brenda says, is that true? Is it? So then Mary, now in my opinion, might be a little harsh, but I think I'm right on line with that. Let me know in the comments. I think she uses her tears as a weapon. She weaponizes her tears and cries at a drop of a dime. You know, Brenda's not on the phone anymore. She can't pull that, you know, oh, I don't think you love me, you like me kind of thing. Right now, you're in person and you got caught in a lie. This whole time, she wanted Brandon only to herself. That's why they watch each other sleep, shower, use the restroom, eat, go to appointments and everything else in between. Brandon can't even talk to his mom and his sisters or have friends or of any kind, male or female, because they may have sisters and he may cheat. But yet Mary can talk to her friends, and with her justification is, oh, well, I've known them since we were growing up, so I'm not just supposed to throw them away. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, because just because you're friends don't mean, you know, in their relationship that, you know, anything could be possible. But she used those tears. She said she was sorry, and Brandon said it was okay. But in confessional, he said, you know, what else is she lying to me about? I mean, does it really matter? He came all the way over to the Philippines, sent over his whole entire paycheck to get the house going and keep everything afloat. So I think it might be a little too late. All right, so let's move to TJ and Kimberly. Now, so far, TJ and Kimberly, to me, are the actual stars of this season so far. Just with all that, they came out the gate with drama. Originally, I thought it was Brandon and Mary, but that's before we met TJ and Kimberly, because they have taken over, for me, just the drama. So the first night, TJ and Kimberly was a disaster. Arguing, she's supposed to be clairvoyant, right? So that came up, and like, how come if you're so clairvoyant, why are you doing this to people's souls? You know, that's what TJ said. And TJ and Kimberly blew up. TJ went down to talk to his family about everything. Kimberly can hear all the drama, and so she feels alone and isolated. So the next morning, TJ comes up to talk to her to try to mend things. He's asking her if everything is okay. She wants to know if they're still getting married. He says yes. She was like, okay, we need to resolve some things. They sat down and talked. Kimberly said, I just want you to acknowledge that you hurt me. And TJ was saying, well, you know, I don't like you using bad language. And then Kimberly said that, you know, that's just who I am. I tend to use bad language. And she said she'll try to fix it going forward. But yet TJ, he also apologized for, you know, not hearing her, not listening, and they both said that they would do better. So I guess everything for now is going okay. Now, when we see them in the evening time, it's time for the pre-wedding festivities. It is 5 days before they get married. And TJ said that, you know, there's traditions in the Indian culture where, you know, they do different little events leading up to the marriage. So Kimberly has to get ready in her traditional dress, and she's not really sure how to put on the outfit. I don't know the exact name of it, so I'm not even gonna butcher it. So she goes to see TJ. She's like, do I have this on right? I just kind of put it on. And so he's like, do you have any pins to hold together? It was kind of like a little backwards and twisted up in the back, but she got it together and she actually looked nice. So during the pre-wedding festivities, TJ's mom and his aunties, or I guess they call each other auntie, give a gift box to Kimberly, and it's filled with money and different little trinkets. And so TJ's mom says, say namaste to your auntie. She's like, oh, namaste. And then also we see TJ and Kimberly, they're holding a platter of sweets, and different family members give them sweets. They just put them in the mouth. I guess it's for good luck or whatever it's for. Kimberly's smiling like, I was just smiling and just saying, thank you, because I didn't know what else to say. Now, when it comes to situations like this, even though Kimberly wasn't necessarily part of the wedding planning, she still should have read up on what was going to happen for pre-wedding traditions. She had already been over to India the first time on a student visa, and I'm sure her and TJ talked about the certain traditions and rituals that would happen before the wedding. So I'm surprised she still didn't have a clue what was going on. Well, after the party was over, Kimberly and TJ go outside, and part of the conversation that comes up is Kimberly asked, so what is it that's going to be expected of me, when we get married? So TJ is trying to like paint this picture, but at the same time, he hasn't even told Kimberly about the fact of that she's going to be responsible for taking over the household, cooking, cleaning, and everything the wife does in place of the mother once they get married. So he's sugarcoating it, saying like, you and my mom will take turns like cooking and washing dishes, rotating week by week. And Kimberly's like, sounds like a schedule to me, and that sounds like it's for the birds. So apparently Kimberly may not be as domestic as maybe she might have to be coming up as she goes through the wedding, and maybe she doesn't necessarily cook. Now, I know one thing that she does cook, and that is like Italian food with garlic and onions, because maybe her background is of such where she's Italian or something, or she really likes that type of food. And later in the episode, when Kimberly is out shopping with TJ's brother, because TJ has to work during the day to get some items for her wedding, like jewelry, bangles, and different things that she has to wear. After they go shopping, TJ's brother and Kimberly talk, and his brother is saying how the things that is expected of her, and they get in conversation about, well, if I have to cook, why can't I have garlic, and I like onions. And TJ's brother is saying that, we don't have that in our household because it's tradition. We don't give things in an offering because the type of food that they eat is traditional, and there's no beef and there's no pork, there's no onions, there's no garlic, and they offer it as part of the religion to the person who they're offering it to based off who they worship. And so Kimberly said, so that means I can't eat what I want. And TJ's brother was like, no, you can't. What do you mean? Like, how many times? Pretty much he was saying, how many times do I have to tell you, are you being stupid, or are you stupid? And that's when Kimberly said, don't you ever call me stupid again. And TJ's brother in confession was like, you know what? This is starting to be TJ's problem, and I am no longer here for it. He's got to do what he's got to do. So, yeah, TJ's brother and Kimberly aren't on the best footing. I'm not sure they ever were. And especially after the fight that they had, that TJ and Kimberly had, he's definitely not feeling her at all. But I will say this, jumping back just a little bit, that Kimberly said after the fight that she actually texted TJ's mom to say that she apologized for the fight and just everything that went on during the night that they can all hear. So she at least apologized for that. So, yep, that was the end of the episode. TJ has his hands full, for sure, with his brother and Kimberly. So, all right, everyone. Next week, we're going to see Wayne and Holly. Holly said she mentioned to Wayne that she found houses for them to look at so that possibly they can move into. Because if you remember or have been watching these episodes, Wayne's house has been broken into 3 different times, and Holly is not comfortable there, and I don't blame her. Now, Wayne says that he feels like he needs to tell Holly that he don't have money like that. And so maybe, he's not sure that it will still work out if Holly knows about his true finances. Then we see Julio and Kirsten. Kirsten's leaving to go home. Julio's telling Kirsten that, I'll see you in about 3 months. Don't worry. And Kirsten said, are you sure this is what you want to do? And then he goes, yeah. All evasive and stuff. And then he goes, oh, pinky promise. So they pinky promise, but Kirsten knows. You can feel the energy. You can feel the vibe from Julio. He's so wishy-washy. Kirsten just ought to go home, block his number, and just go ahead and live life. But hey, we'll have to see how it goes in the future episodes. All right. Then we have Armando talking to Kenny about surrogacy. Well, Armando has been wanting to have another baby, a sibling for Hannah, and Kenny is not along the lines of having another baby or toddler or anything like that in the household because he's pushing 60. He might even be a little over 60, maybe 60, 61, 62, something like that. And he doesn't want to start over, which upsets Armando. And that whole conversation seemed like is going to be an issue in the relationship going forward. And then finally, we see TJ and Kimberly. TJ has met with Kimberly and his brother after work. Well, apparently, Kimberly told TJ what was going on during the day, the tension with his brother. And so TJ is sticking up for Kimberly. He's yelling at his brother like, don't be talking to my woman like that. While Kimberly's sitting in the chair smirking like, my man is here to rescue me. And TJ's brother gets up and is like, I can't support this. So yeah, this is 5 days before the wedding, and we'll see if they get to the finish line, if they get married or not. But let me just say, in confessional, I did see a ring on TJ's left hand, so maybe they did get married. We'll have to wait who knows how many more episodes to see if they did. So, all right, everyone. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next week. And until next time, everyone, live simply, be grateful.